Speaking of chastising, I'm gently chastised on this show probably daily, and a viewer called in and gently chastised me. It is Super Bowl 44, not 34. I misspoke, and thank you so much for doing that. And you're paying attention. I like that. Michelle Turner is with us, a movement specialist, talking about how we can relax, beginning with our hands. We very seldom think of our hands as a place or a tool for relaxing. This is a unique concept, I believe. You're a certified Anapnel practitioner. Okay, and you've been that how long?
I've been doing that work now for 4 years.
And that work is exactly what?
I work with the skeletal system and the central nervous system to show your system or your body how to move. And for most people, that's without pain. It's also very good for special needs children because due to the trauma that they've gone through, they don't move correctly, and I show them how to move better and therefore that they can achieve much more at school. That's the reason I got into it. Both my kids are special needs, and I became certified to help them.
Now, we're talking movement, everyday movements that all of us take for granted.
Correct. We don't breathe properly.
Every time somebody says that, I sit up straight and try. We need to breathe from our stomach, don't we?
Actually, I would like to actually start seeing your ribs actually to expand and your sternum to move, and you know that your skeletal system is actually working with the lungs.
I know, you know, we think about doing that, and then we do it for about 5 minutes, and then we go right back.
Right. Well, one of the things is when we have taut hands and there's tension there, this really gets quite bound up, and you don't realize it. When your hands aren't relaxed and we're just sort of sitting there all nervous and fidgeting, it starts traveling up and making our chest tight and so forth, which affects our heart and everything.
Which part of the body does stress first and tension first manifest itself?
Probably in the hands and also in your face.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the first place we notice it, and from there it travels?
Well, you always get it as a kid. If you make that face, it'll stay that way. So, and stress, it really shows. If we're worrying and so forth, it really,
Let's talk about the hands. Are there exercises to relax the hands, or is it just being conscious of it?
Being conscious, but also just sort of making like your hands are in honey. Just sort of like just to draw the hands up and down as if they were just melting into honey and so forth. And you'll find that it's harder for people to actually relax the arm down. We actually want to hold our arm up just to get used to the movements and just getting used to our hands doing the motions, or just individually raising a finger up and down. We're so used to just grabbing it and working as a whole instead of just differentiating, just movement in between just a finger. So just taking a couple, you can do this right before you're going to sleep just to let things go, or even when you're driving or you're at a red light, you can just...
Is that some of the concept of letting the stress flow out from us?
It's just giving your mind variations. Even if you're stressful and you can move your hands quite freely, you actually saw this yesterday in the Super Bowl, an elite athlete, if they're throwing the ball, this hand's just limp like a noodle, and people just don't realize it. If his hand was tight on the other end, he just wouldn't throw the ball just as well.
So there would be tension coming out the other arm.
Right.
Holding a cell phone, I would imagine, people walk around sometimes 6 hours a day. They have the cell phone on their ear, their shoulders up.
And the texting, and then yes, it brings into the shoulders, and we forget to bring down those shoulders. And it's almost like carrying a little backpack around all day, especially if we don't have a Bluetooth or something like that we're cooking and talking at the same time.
So the tension can travel from there to other parts of the body?
Right, and if your shoulders are actually working too hard, your lower back forgets to work. And that's where we start getting the cramps in our shoulders and our necks. And it's actually more so because our lower back's not doing the job it needs to do, and we're doing so much work over in our shoulders.
So is some of the secret to stay fluid? That's how I'm hearing, I think.
It's just looking into just being aware that we're even doing it. A lot of people don't even realize it until maybe they see a picture, or even worse, late we're at the doctor's office and they're pointing out things to us. But again, just raising a shoulder to and from, just to let it go. And another way too is actually go with the tension, contract real hard, and then just let it go, versus the stretching that we're so used to doing and so forth, just to release your system and just bring those shoulders back down.
We said the hands and the face are the first two places. Any particular spot on the face? or the face in general?
A lot of it can come through in the brow area and so forth. And
is that what we see, the wrinkles and the lines?
The worry lines, which I can probably show pretty well.
You don't have it. Well, no, you don't really
a little
have
bit
it.
from New York left over.
So, but we can consciously make effort to reduce that.
Just even notice if we're just pouting our lips a lot. If we're driving and we're thinking like this, we don't have to think with our face. We can actually relax our face and think at the same time. And some people sort of bite the side of their face or have little habits, but again, it's maybe they don't even know where that they do it. And it's just taking some time out and just realizing, how am I breathing? What's going on in my face? Can I actually just relax my jaw versus a clenched jaw? Or
are people who clench their teeth during the night part of this?
Oh yeah, because they can't let it go even during the day, that their system's still working on it. When your system can't lie down even to sleep, that really adds to a very restless sleep, because we're so busy working on our bodies still, even as we're sleeping.
So I would imagine that doing these exercises or modalities before you go to sleep might be beneficial for our sleep time.
Oh, absolutely. Even just like I said, just little things of just, because it also, when we're just concentrating on our hands even for a second, or just raising our shoulder, even lying in bed, we're not thinking about all our problems during the day, because we're actually just thinking of our shoulder. You know, it's not about getting the kids to the doctors tomorrow and what meetings I have at 10 o'clock and so forth, running around. And it'll help us sleep better.
Now, a movement specialist, that is your title. Are we seeing more people enter in the field of being a movement specialist? It's new to me. I haven't heard that title before. More people practicing this?
I think so. It is something that's new and different and so forth, but one of the things that happens, let's say if you have a chronic issue like of a bad back, the doctors go after that area. Well, the bad back might really be caused because you have very bad feet. So if you don't change your habits or look at the way that you're walking or doing things, you're going to have these patterns, even though you might get a temporary fix, which might be shots or pills or so forth to alleviate the pain.
Sure. Now, speaking of feet, now we don't often think about exercising feet. We just get up, walk, and I would consider that enough exercise for my feet. Not so. We should do something special.
We don't actually realize that we have feet other than learning how to walk and run as children. We play tennis, we go to the gym, we work out, we do things. We really don't do much for our feet.
Can you show us what we should do with our feet?
Instead of a massage, because when you do muscle base, it really doesn't affect the brain as much. But if you were to just work and just basically with your bones and just lightly just start moving the feet. And with some people, that actually might be rotating the ankles, might be just something very new and different. And they might see that they really don't have a lot of movement, but that's okay. If you do it very slow and gentle, you'll start to see that, oh, I can move it a bit more side to side or down. And the same with our toes.
So the goal here is to increase movement
with your skeletal
range
system.
of motion,
yeah.
whether it be arms, neck, head,
and just
hands, feet.
Just don't force it.
Go gently at first.
Very gently, yeah. And that way our brain has a chance to learn.
So then it is, after it's learned and imprinted, is it something then we can do, we maybe do unconsciously then?
Oh, absolutely. If you're walking better, you have a better range of motion when you walk, heel to toe, your balance will improve greatly. And when your balance improves, your blood pressure will go down. When your balance is off, it increases your circulatory system, which increases blood pressure. So.
I like this suggestion, move with awareness. Most of us walk through the day unconscious.
Poor Brittany Murphy, she, nobody knew how sick she was, and she had pneumonia. It gets worse and worse as we just get busier and with cell phones, and I work on lots of people that didn't know they were having a stroke or a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
They had a headache for a few days and some chest pain, and it just didn't faze them. So until they finally, it didn't go away and went to the hospital. So.
You make the Valley home.
I do, in
Yes.
Phoenix, yes.
And people can find you and take advantage, of course, of your services.
They can email me any question they'd like. I'm always available, but they can come for a lesson. I give hourly lessons and actually work with your whole system, head to toe, or I teach classes, and then I can teach people through where they would do very similar movements. And
Excellent. Michelle, thank you for
Thank you
speaking
so
to us
much.
today. Great information.
Have a great
Random
day.
Live. Didn't know. Hands and face is where it first shows up, huh? Be aware of that. When we come back, there's gold in them there hills. Well, the hills being Wickenburg. It's the gold rush days. Julia Brooks here.